there, because many times people take the garbage, do not, where they do not also really sort it out. You find plastic is with food remains. Really, this is really something that we need to work out, because as a city, that is something also really where we see garbage coming out in heaps. But how do you make sure that the garbage that is coming out from these places is not one that is going to be dangerous? This is where we need to also make sure we also sort the garbage, because there's decomposable and non-decomposable garbage that we should also really sort out before taking them to the dump sites. So in there now, garbage is moving towards that, and I believe with the Garbage Management Act that should also really come in place that will address some of these concerns. And remember, ARUA City is already developing a bylaw or an ordinance that will be looking out the issues of garbage. And I really want to say one aspect that should also be included, in my own opinion, is the aspect of sorting this garbage, because many times people do not sort the garbage. They take the garbage just as it is, and at the end of the day, leaving it to the hands of the people who are at the dump site to sort out this garbage, making them do double work in there. But really, how do we make sure that those people who are at the dump sites do not have a lot of responsibility through what we call sorting this garbage? It is quite simple. It is quite also really an easy task, where we need to also start training our maids. We need to, as women, we need to start also prioritizing sorting this garbage. If it is plastic, we put the plastic aside. If it is food stuff, we put the food stuff aside. If it is other things that can be decomposing, let's sort them aside. But you really find people put plastics, people put scrap, people put food stuff all together. That is really how challenging it is in relation to that matter in there. But that is one thing also which I now want to call upon each and every family member out there to embark on, because that is where we have seen also really that number also resulting from. Because now we are seeing the facility also developing cracks. That means anytime any disaster may also really arise. But that is exactly what we're not praying for. But we also really say government should also come out and sensitize the locals about these issues of the garbage, because elsewhere we have seen people shunning the garbage and also rejecting garbage trucks from entering their facilities. And quite common is in Entebbe, where we did see people solely rejecting the garbage trucks from entering their place in there. Now, what are the government also saying? Uganda Red Cross Society has asked government to fund national disaster plan to avoid such instances of chitezi in there. Now, Uganda Red Cross Society, that is Secretary Robert Kwesiga, has asked the government of Uganda to fund and operationalize the national disaster plan to adequately prepare for tragic instances like the deadly also the August 10th Tezi dam site collapse in there. And early in 2024, Office of the Prime Minister requested additional funding of shillings, that is 63.679 billion, to operationalize what we call the disaster risk management plan, among other initiatives that also will be dealing with also the issues pertaining disaster. And remember, as a government, we have a sole department, the ministry, that is the Ministry of Disaster and Preparedness, that is to underlook and also really check in affairs of disaster. But many times we do not have that aspect also really of making sure that this is actually operationalized. And sometimes it is due to resource challenges, where the resource envelope may not be in position to really allow some of these government entities to work efficiently in there, and that is where it becomes a challenge. Now, Uganda Red Cross Society has actually called upon government to make sure also they fund what we call the national disaster planning. And leaving that aside, leaving the issues pertaining stays aside, now, still on a sad note, let's get in Tororo, where St. Peter's College head teacher has been burned to death. Is really another story that we are seeing on the past morning. This is in Tororo, where Obore village in Tororo municipality was sparked by tragedy also last night when Joseph Olokojo, a retired educator and a former headmaster of St. Peter's College, was brutally attacked and killed in there, where the 63-year-old was set ablaze, where his house was set ablaze by unknown assailants in a shocking act of violence at his home in there. And according to reports, the attackers broke into Olokojo's residence around midnight and also by breaching the perimeter fence, whereas Olokojo attempted to escape and protect his family. The assailants overpowered him and dousing him in petrol and igniting the flames in there. And the fire caused severe injuries, and Olokojo was rushed to St. Anthony's Hospital in Tororo, where his condition deteriorated. However, he was transported to Mbale Regional Referral Hospital before being pronounced dead in there. And that is something also really where we did see him also being pronounced dead upon also being taken to Mulago Hospital. But really, where could the challenge be? If at all me and you have disagreements, is it enough for you to really murder me up? These are things also we need to understand. But really, why would those people come out and murder this man here? Because this is a retired head teacher. And really, how do we also really see such scenarios happen in our society? That is really quite sad and really disheartening as well. But how do we make sure that such activities do not happen in our society? And also really security must be in the know of such activities in there, because really sometimes such instances leave us in fears, because we do not know what exactly is going to be happening next, or to the next person also really in there. But these are questions also really that deserve answers. And who exactly? And this is where now we expect thorough investigations in relation to who are the people behind the murder and what their motive was, because it remains unclear on what exactly could have transpired in there. But that is where we're going to leave the discussion with. And up next, we shall be joined by ONGOM Poly, Assistant Resident City Commissioner, that is for Central Division, and we are going to be discussing issues within corruption. And I want to say in my area, that is in Tanganyika, we have seen the women recently undergoing what we call a training on financial literacy before they get the PDM funds. But many actually are not also trusting the process. And what exactly does that mean? Up next will be that convention where ONGOM Poly will be joining us. For now, we take yet another short commercial break that will be ushering us into that discussion. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Kylian Mbappe! Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal, Antoine Griezmann. La Liga comes to Star Times.
A wild celebration!
The big stars, the tiki-taka football, Real Madrid and Barcelona live in your living room.
Real Madrid, a team of dreams!
Catch all 380 games live and in HD on Sports Premium Channel 259 and Channel 246 starting this August 15th. Subscribe to StarTimes Classic or Smart Bouquet at 36,000 Uganda shillings to enjoy the football experience affordably. StarTimes Football and limited passion.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. We are back now. I've been joined by ONGOM Polly, the Assistant Resident City Commissioner in charge of AYIVU Division, and we want to look at the corruption within the PDM. And talking about the Parish Development Model, somebody may be getting that for the very first time. This is a government initiative that is to make sure that the population moves out of what we call the poverty bar line, and today many people are actually complaining about that, and that is where they're saying they're not getting the money because of corruption, and that discussion will be also really unfolding right now, and ONGOM Polly will be telling us how that is manifested and what the people exactly should be doing, and if at all they feel there's corruption, what should they be doing? What should be their response? That conversation also is what we are going to be discussing on this morning. But first thing first, you're most welcome to KOKOLIRIKO Live Show this Thursday edition.
Thank you, the host and the listeners.
Yes, and that is it, and really we are going to be using that discussion now. Without wasting any time, I want to understand how has corruption affected the progress of PDM, in particular in your division, AYIVU?
Corruption is something very, very, very bad, as you know. It deprives the target beneficiary from getting the service they are supposed to get. So, this corruption in the PDF has affected the beneficiary within the division and the entire city, in that those who are supposed to get a given amount of money, like 1 million, you find such a person will either get less than that, or some have not even got it completely. So, I want to take our listeners. The corruption in PDF has taken two major dimensions. One, there are IT specialists. We have already identified those groups. It is just a matter of now apprehending them that are hacking the PDM information system called Wendy. You find the money which is supposed to go to the intended beneficiary lands into the account of another person. And then this person, the IT specialist, uses the very structure within the PDM that is like, say, chairperson, secretary, or treasury. And then one of them will call the person to whom the money has been channeled online that you come for a password. And then the person comes, they give the password, and then this very person goes and draws the money and brings the money back to either the chairperson, secretary, or treasury of the group. Of course, with the bank charge, you find 1 million, the person will now access, say, maybe 900 and something. And then the person who have brought the money will be given maybe 30 or 40,000. The rest of the money is shared within the top structure and the IT specialists who have hacked the system. So we are following that. And then the other area is that some of the technical people who are assigned the responsibility of guiding these groups are the very one who are collecting money from the beneficiary. I am not going to mention names here. A case in point recently, one of the officer in a given ward was collecting 22,500 from each beneficiary of a group, and collected to more than 30 people. So you can imagine now. Imagine one of the group is this one of disability group. People who are really in need. You go and start asking money from such a person. What heart do you have?
So where does that put the progress of this PDM? And how has it affected the distribution and disbursement of the parish development model funds?
It has affected it slightly in that, as I already did mention. You find I have applied for 1 million. I will either get less than that, or I may not get it. So, if I get less than 1 million, or any amount that I had applied, that means it is affecting my intended plan. And that is exactly what is going on. There is a lot of outcry down. And as you know, PDM, this money is wired directly from Ministry of Finance, direct to the beneficiary account. Now, this corruption in PDM is actually happening at the ward or parish level. I hope you get me there.
Yes.
So, it has somehow affected the disbursement. Although, from the Ministry of Finance, the disbursement is not affected. Money comes. So, problem now is at the group level, circle level. Yes.
You know, some time back, 7 ARUA city officials were actually arrested over mismanagement of the government fund, that is the parish development funds, and really we didn't see this happening. It means it's still happening. In Waduluwa ward, just here at Downer area of Mvara, we saw many people being arrested there. What exactly should these people learn from? Because corruption may be going on, but the people do not know what exactly is happening. What should they do if I told somebody asks for money from them? That local mama in the village now, whom we are talking to right now.
I want to inform our listeners out there. And I like, you know, police detained 2 yesterday but 1, and they are going to face court. And do you know how the whole thing came about? The very group from whom money was extorted, they just walked into our office, lodged a complaint, and that is how we were able to swing into action. So my advice to the various circle group, when such a thing happens to you, an officer ask for money from you, don't sit down, simply make an alarm. Call any of us. We are now many. We will be able to act swiftly to arrest the situation. And then for those who are still maybe planning that they can pick something, they can be picking this money. I want to kindly request you, this money is like poison. The moment you pick it,
what happens?
You are going to vomit it, whether you like it or not. Should we get information that you have picked this money, you will vomit.
I wouldn't wish to go into names, but in Arua City before you came in, we saw some officials being arrested. I wouldn't want to mention names, but we have seen them also continue with their works. Nothing happened to them. We have seen them back in the offices. What does that also really imply?
That one, I don't know whether they were arrested in regard to PDM money, but I may not have so much to discuss about that. As you know, that at that time,
you were not here.
I was not in the office. But I can assure you, as you are well aware, right now, even His Excellency Yoweri Museveni Kaguta is very serious with the issue of corruption. If such a thing happened at this time, I think the way corruption-related issue going to be handled will be different from the past.
You know, in my village of late, I saw people actually being prepared for Paris development funds because as a requirement, people are first supposed to be prepared. And we did see officials coming from government to come and also sensitize the locals before registering them and also extending this money to them. But one concern has been that people do not trust the process of them getting money. How can we make sure we change that mindset? Because people are now saying this money is not for everybody. This money is for a selected few, and you are not actually involved in this money. What could be your message to everybody out there who is in need of this money?
Another area where corruption is taking place in PDM is that you find the chairperson of the group can mean to process or approve that money for the family member. Like I will pick 1 million. My wife will pick 1 million. In case I have 2 or 3 wives, you find around 4 or 5 million is ending up in this household.
What should be
and we are following that.
How are the family members supposed to get this money here?
You find per household, there must be one person who should benefit from this. Why? So that another household is able also to get part of this money. Now for those who decided to approve more than 1 million within one household, that one is already corruption in itself. And my advice to you, just desist from that. Because we are also investigating some of these cases. You are depriving other households from getting the money. The intended purpose of this money is people should get that little, but many people should access it. So if you confine it in only one household, and then that is wrong.
So what should the families do if at all they're not trusting the process? Where should they go to? Because you mentioned that you're very many. But this mother may not also really be in position to go to your office, and the nearest person is the LC1 whom they no longer trust.
Yes.
The LC1 whom they no longer trust. Because many are saying for you to appear on this list, it has to be verified by the LC1.
I don't think whether all LC1 are bad. There could be a few selected elements. So my advice to them, they can still go through the LC1 or they can go through any other person who is not within the structure but is exposed. Like they can come to you who is working here and you know where you can channel or advise them to go. You simply say, you go to such an office.
Okay.
Yeah.
So really looking at what continues to happen within the Paris development model, corruption is actually manifested in several ways. We saw people paying money to also be included in the list. This is something I believe which did not find you still in office, because you are one of those RSCs, by the way, I must say, I first met one of those first assistant RSCs.
Yes.
I had my first encounter with when you recently came to ARUA City. And really before you came in, so many issues pertaining PDM were there. People were complaining of them paying money to be included on the list, and which I feel is not anymore now, because people are saying that this money is going to be used for processing parts, because I happen to have attended many Paris development model engagements, and I was able to move to some of the villages. These are complaints that we often had. Now, as government, what is your strategy to avoid corruption by the officials within the Paris development model? Because these are people who are supposed to be exemplary, that the ones also who are engaged in corruption.
First of all, we have a program ourselves in a way that we are going to invite all of the town agents. You know, that is also one of the areas we need to sensitize. We are going to invite them and guide them on what to do, pass the information through them, so that they also again pass it to the grassroots. 2, we have what is called Baraza, which we have already started. We organize this Baraza in an area where there is either problem or we want people to know about certain services that the government is offering. So we have embarked on that. We are going to be telling the beneficiary, not only PDM, even Emyoga.
Okay.
By the way, the corruption has even infiltrated Emyoga. I can even assure you, the one of Emyoga might even be worse than PDM. Because as you know, the structure of Emyoga is more or less like the one of PDM. You'll find the chairperson of a group comes and sign for say 6 million that is going to redistribute this to the group member. This person will end up not giving to the group member and pocket the whole thing. So there is a baraza that is going on as we talk now. But for those who know that they have erred, they have either mismanaged this fund, my appeal to you, just refund that money onto the association account, SACCO account. Go and deposit that money.
What if it is not there now?
If it is not there, we are going to get you. Yeah. We are going to get you and you will have to pay. This money, PDM, you see, one of the reasons why the performance is somehow affected, there is a wrong perception. People out there think that this is free money.
It is politics money.
Political money.
But this is what many people...
And it is being made worse. There are some politicians who also goes in the community. They are telling the beneficiary or PDM or MO that this is a free money. And as a result, the beneficiary have now got the audacity that I am not paying. This money is not free money. Point number one. Point number two.
I wish you repeat yourself when looking at the camera, because that person who is watching us right now, information, because many people are saying that this is our money, this is politics money.
Okay. So, this perception that the money is free, that is wrong. This money is not free. Point number one. Point number two, this money will not go back to the central government. It will remain with you in that association. So the purpose is the money should continue revolving and expanding as a result within a given period of time. Your household income status is improved. Instead of now going to the bank where you will access a loan at higher rate, you have now money in your circle at a lower rate. You just go and pick. By the way, there are very many success stories with the PDM amidst all of these challenges of corruption.
Before we head into the success, I want to look at this issue pertaining the corruption. Those borrowers who are not refunding this money, that is still corruption already.
Yes.
Because you asked for that money, you were given it, and you have to refund the money back.
Yes.
One observation is in Vietnam, maybe, where people have also now taken up, and they're on the run. Others have entered DRC and they don't know where they are. After borrowing money, for instance, that was with the Nyoga. Many people have actually been on the run. What is the strategy of government to make sure that such people are apprehended? Because we need to make sure that this money comes back so that those who have not gotten can also have an opportunity of getting back the same money.
Thank you so much. Aware that RCC office and the police may not be everywhere because of the size of the area and the location, what we have decided to do, we have decided to engage the very group of members who are paying well. By the way, those who ran away with the money, even not only in Nebi, it is even here. in the city. Majority of them have crossed to Congo. They are the other side. Here they even have 2 homes, especially those AYIVU West.
In the border district.
Yes, you find somebody home here at the side of Uganda also has a home in the DRC. So what we have decided to do, and we feel that is the best strategy, is that we are using the very SACCO member who are doing well, who are paying their money promptly, and their businesses are doing well, to be the one now to monitor, because they are the, first of all, they are the one who approved this money, remember, to their fellow members. Therefore, during the assessment, they know the home of this person. So we are now using them. Like some 3 weeks ago, this is in AYIVU West. One borrowed 6 million that he was going to distribute to the fellow members in that group. Ended up, using that money alone. So we had to use the same members in the same group to now put a surveillance on him. And indeed, we sent two members. They went up to this man. They found he has 2 homes. They found him in the one of Uganda side. And then they were able to call OCCID, who acted very fast, sent plain police detective. Successfully, they picked him. That is now not even RCC arresting. It is the fellow members. They picked him, they brought him. He was not taken to court in that because he was able to pay some significant amount of money. Then he was released on bond with a written commitment. So that is what we are doing, to ensure that those who ran away with the money are brought back to book and they pay the money. By the way, our intention as the office of the RCC, I want everybody to listen to this. Our intention is not actually to be arresting people here and there, or to authorize police to arrest people here and there.
But you're the security department.
We want people to just feel it by themselves. If you know you have picked this money, you have not paid, you pay the money to your SACCO group willingly.
Okay.
We can only come in when now you are failing to comply. That is where we will come in.
Now, Mr. Ngom, that brings me the question. Now, what if I have not refused to pay the money, but things have refused? I picked this money and they said the business, now the business has collapsed. In this case, what is government stand?
Yeah, that is a different scenario from those who pick and deliberately refuse to pay.
What about those who
you see now, those who are ready, yes, those who are ready. For instance, somebody who have picked the money to go and do farming, agriculture, maybe plant cassava, and then after harvesting, sell and pay the money. And then probably the drought comes in, burn the whole crop. That one is understandable. Even in banking, when you obtain agricultural loan, where drought comes and burn everything, there is a way the loan is rescheduled. Of course, they may not exonerate you completely from paying, but what will happen, the loan will be rescheduled. Instead of paying it within the previously agreed period, the members, that is now not us, your own SACCO members, may now say, no, we can extend for you the period. Look around from other sources and bring back. And they may also, they may not say bring it at a lump sum. They may say they break it down for you. Maybe pay this within certain people. That one is understandable.
Okay.
Because this person also did not wish that
He
failed to pay the money.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that is to you who is now struggling, wondering where you are going to be getting this money from after borrowing it. That is where now the group members will be coming to your mercy if at all you have been well with them. And that means if at all you are borrowing this money, then your character with the members also really very, very much stand on. And you must be good to them all the time, so that only when such calamities also really befall, and that's where they will be coming in position to also really understand you and also be with you in solidarity in there, where they can also really make the sentences very lesser in there through asking you to pay for this money in small bits. We take a short commercial break that will be bringing us back into the discussion. My name is Parish Majid, and I'm still together with the Assistant Resident City Commissioner for AYIVU Division, that is Mr. ONGOM Poli, as we are discussing the corruption within the Paris development model. And now we are coming back, and where in the second hour we shall be looking at where exactly this corruption is manifesting itself. But for now, we take this short commercial break as we bounce back shortly.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Kylian Mbappe! Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal, Antoine Griezmann. La Liga comes to Star Times.
A wild celebration!
The big stars, the tiki-taka football, Real Madrid and Barcelona live in your living room.
Real Madrid, a team of dreams!
Catch all 380 games live and in HD on Sports Premium Channel 259 and Channel 246 starting this August 15th. Subscribe to StarTimes Classic or Smart Bouquet at 36,000 Uganda shillings to enjoy the football experience affordably. StarTimes Football and limited passion.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, we'll come back from that short commercial break. We're already 4 minutes after after 8 o'clock, and today happens to be the 15th day into the month of August. That means we're already halfway the month, which is the 8th month in there, and we shall be entering the 9th month anytime from now. And that's where also you should be making assessments of the plans that you laid at the beginning of the year in terms of how much you have achieved so far, and if you've got the Parish development model, is it working for you? And if not, what are your plans to make sure that you get this money, and this money shouldn't go into waste, because this is not a free money, as many of you allude to, and also really with many also really thinking that this money is actually campaign money. We are saying that is not campaign money. It is actually money that government of Uganda is giving to also really support you, so that also you move away from the poverty bar line into the money economy, so that already there is nobody called a poor person, and this is where the money also really should be working towards. And now one factor has been identified as a backlash to the progress, that is corruption. And now we also want to now look at how this corruption is manifested, and what exactly should the locals do if at all they are also really encountering these kinds of corruption. And Mr. Mompoli earlier on mentioned many ways this corruption is actually manifested, and now he mentioned what exactly people should be doing. And now I want to come back now the ordinary person who also really, but we are able to mention the corruption within the officials. Now let's come to corruption within the beneficiaries, because you mentioned of those who get the money and run away. But now we want to now see what about those who get this money, are claiming that they're going to be putting up certain projects, but they don't put out the projects. We see people buying mattresses after getting Parish model. We see people going back to village with the hoofers. We see them because every time we see them also on the borders. That means the people are not using the money for the intended purpose. What could be your message?
That is in itself is corruption, because you have picked this money for unintended purpose, and again you are using the money for a different purpose. You have diverted the fund. My message, because you are right, I have seen some people, beneficiaries now, after getting this money like it is, men especially.
Mama PDMs, we actually call it PDMs.
They go straight to the bar,
Drinking joints.
Drinking joint. Some will even add of a second girlfriend or what. You forget that this is the money you are supposed to pay back. Now my message to you along this category. Don't just squander this money. Know that you borrowed this money for particular purpose, and that is the reason why the money was approved to you. So don't divert. If you divert, you drink the money, you do ABCD, it will catch up with you, because at all costs you are going to pay this money. That is my message. So don't divert. Pick the money, go and use it for the intended purpose. Yes.
If your project, let's say, was to plant cassava, we would not expect you to drink beer with that money. That is what Mr.
Exactly
is saying, and
yes.
That is in itself corruption. Is there any punishment for that, apart from being arrested? Is there maybe, let's say, any jail time for that, or any currency point that this was supposed to be fined with?
Yeah, normally when you are arrested, they take you to court straight away. Yeah, then a court will charge you inside. You see, but that is not our wish. You should simply know you are all be responsible enough, pay the money. Okay. Then I want to add something to do. You know, you asked me some question, and I told you, when the incidents happened, I was not here. That there were some people, I think in the city,
yes,
who were arrested.
Even there are those.
They were arrested, and even AYIVU division released, and they are back in office. I want you to know one thing. You see, arresting somebody is one thing. Prosecuting this person is another thing. So, normally we advise before you arrest somebody, make sure thorough investigation is done to ascertain that this person actually is guilty
or innocent.
Or innocent. So when you pick this person, the evidences are there, prosecution will take place. So what I don't know, I don't want to preempt on that. Those who were maybe arrested and came back to office, maybe there was no sufficient evidence to pin them. So I will not talk much about that. I brought this so that you know. Arrest and conviction, these are two different scenarios. Yeah.
So that goes back to the officials themselves who are behind the corruption in there. How should they help you as government to make sure that government realizes its intended purpose for giving this money? Because now it is clear, we cannot run away from that officials are behind the Paris development model have promoted corruption within the system, and that is how many people are not trusting the process. How should they help you?
You see, the information we are passing here is that if you are charged with the responsibility of managing this fund, be it at technical level or at the community level, just do it honestly. Do not dip your hand. Provide the technical services, guidance to the beneficiary, and stop there. Actually, you can even ensure that the money being borrowed, for instance, when you are a town agent, it is even your role to ensure that people are paying back this money. So, do your work along that line. But if you go extra mile and you also start now extorting, and evidence is produced against you, that one we shall come for you. Yeah. We shall come for you to ensure that you pay the money. Yeah.
Looking at the levels of corruption, you mentioned that Emioga also really as well has been hit by the same vice.
Yes.
Now, how will government realize its intended purpose because the rest did not work?
No,
Mr. Hom, we are looking at the Paris development model as a magic bullet.
Yes.
To ending poverty amongst the locals. Now, with corruption, how realistic and how do you think, to what extent, government will realize the intended purpose for this money?
No, much as there are these challenges of this corruption within the PDM, it has not paralyzed, mark my word, it has not paralyzed the system completely. It has not paralyzed this program. The success stories are more than the corruption-related issue that we are discussing right now. So PDM is still doing well in most area. Yeah.
How about it in AYIVU, where people are still languishing in poverty? Because poverty, looking at what
the other thing I wanted to put clear here, those who are charged with the responsibility of ensuring that the beneficiary within a given community get this money should do the right thing. They should register people without segregation. You know why you are saying in AYIVU people are still languishing in poverty? One of the reasons is that these ones who are charged with the responsibility of enrolling the beneficiary, they do leave some people out.
They go for
we have got information, and even we are rolling there, by the way. We have got information that these people enroll people selectively. There are people who have already reported. You find somebody has been waiting for this money since last year, November, to date. The person has not got the money.
That is actually where...
So that is where now there is another problem. in itself, that is also corruption. If you deny service to other people, you are only considering some selected people, that is wrong.
Okay. That is actually one clear observation. We did see this in Odulba Ward, which is under AYIVU East here, just where we did see some people being arrested. And that means corruption has been detected in that area, where the officials allocated money also really for people who were able-bodied. And the arrests were made and they were later also really given police bond in there. But that means corruption has actually been promoted by these officials in there. That is where also I believe you need their support to also come out and also find advice in there. Now that brings me to the question of whoever is on that list. It is clear that not everybody is going. People are fearing that they are not going to be getting this money, and itself to be registered on that list. People are complaining.
Yes.
What message, what criteria can you?
My message to these categories who have been marginalized, they are not getting the money, even if they are being told that you are on the list. Just confidently come to our office, lodge your complaint formally, and then we follow it up. We follow it up to ensure that in the next disbursement,
you appear.
You benefit.
So is it a must that whoever is going to be on that list will get this money? In other words, should I say that if my name was now written, should I be patiently waiting that at the end of the day I know I'm going to be getting this money? Or it is
of course, it depends.
Because
if you are taken along, despite the fact that your name had been there, it means there is a problem. The person charged with the role of approving for you the money doesn't want to allocate it to you. So you still need to what? To raise it up. It may not necessarily be to us alone. You can start with the LC1. If you feel LC1 cannot help you, you raise it to us directly.
Okay, so me whose name was written now, how long do I know that now I've taken long without getting this money and now you need to start following up? Because my name may have been written, but I'm patiently waiting and thinking at the end of the day I'm going to be getting this money.
Of course now.
What is the grace period for one to think that now within this period I should have gotten this money?
Of course, you know, this money comes in phases. That lump sum disbursement. So now when you are sure that you are on the waiting list, and then you will be able to know when the next disbursement comes. And then within the period you will even gauge yourself that I will be able to take such a period for me to get this money. I told you the money comes in phases and directly from the Minister of Finance. So some of the delays also could be as a result of what? Waiting for that disbursement. Although some is as a result of somebody considering others and leaving you out.
Okay, that is where now I want to ask the opinion and the view of the viewer out there to also share with us. How has been your experience with the Parish Development Model Fund in relation to the topic we are discussing, corruption? Is it happening within your areas? What exactly should we also do and how it's manifested? Because we want to understand so that solely the people out there who are the target beneficiaries get this money in there. And I'm still with the one party who will be in position to answer in the next remaining minutes of the show. And that is where I will be explaining that.
While we wait for the callers, we're
waiting for the messages to come through.
Yes. I kindly request our listeners out that be very vigilant. We have discovered that there are some scrupulous people who are within us in the city. They are forming what we call fake PDM group. They form them, they come and they lure you, let's form this group, what. And then they turn around and start asking for some money from you. That you pay this amount of money, what for, as processing fee. So we have also discovered that.
That brings to the question, if somebody really wants to help you, should it be okay for you to sort of give money to that person who wants to help you? Now
that is totally wrong.
I need your help.
That is totally wrong. That is a theft by trickery. If somebody comes, this is a free government service, PDM. Nobody should come to ask money from you, whether even a coin. Not allowed. Should anybody ask for money from you, confidently report the issue to the relevant authority. As I told you, you can report to your area LC1. If you feel they cannot help you very fast, you can even report to the nearest police or report to our office directly. We'll be able to take it up.
Okay.
So be aware of conmen who are forming fake PDM group within the city here community, and they ask you to pay for processing fees. You pay your money, you wait for PDM money to come to you in vain. So be aware of that. Make sure you are within the right group.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how ready are you as security to combat such people also in there with their challenges of wanting to steal from the masses?
As I did mention earlier, we have already identified one. I will not mention the name, who is forming fake group here in Arua City. We are going, already security is trailing him. As of yesterday, security was around the area suspected maybe to be his residence. He wasn't there. So I'm very sure between today up to Saturday, we might register some progress in as far as getting this person is concerned.
Okay.
Yes.
So other than that, other people who are still infiltrated in this progress, let's say now the departmental officials who are genuine workers, not the conmen now, who are still there asking for money. Because we have town agents who might not hide from you, who may be getting money from them. And we have Paris model chairpersons who may still be asking for money from those vulnerable mothers who have their names being included on the list. That is one thing.
Thank you so much. One of the avenues through which we can pass our genuine and honest information to them before anything happens is that they should stop. They should stop picking money from the beneficiary. That is my message to them. If they don't, and evidence is adduced against them, like what happened I told you. 2 is in detention, I think being produced in court this morning. 1 is a town agent plus a SACCO member. If you don't stop, for you as a technical person, in this case the agent, or whether it being commercial officer, if you are involved, whoever is involved, let me put it general, whoever is involved, and then the law will take its course.
Okay.
Yes.
But corruption is two-way, the giver and the receiver.
Yes.
What about me, who is giving that money to have my name be included on the list?
That now explain the reason why. Actually, before an arrest.
Why don't we arrest both?
No, listen. Before an arrest is effected, police or relevant authority will first call for the both parties to explain themselves. And then where now the giver is the one who initiated. You know, there is a scenario where I will say, please have this money. Have this money.
Help me.
Help me. That one you are included.
You both go to jail.
Yes. But there is a scenario where I, as the technical officer, I'm the one now saying, you give this amount of money for me to help you. That one will come for you alone.
Okay.
We will not go for the other one. Because you the one who asked for the money.
Okay.
Yes.
That is it, and that is also really where now, as we are remaining with about 6 minutes, what could be your message also to the masses out there in relation to PDM and the progress of PDM? How is PDM doing in AYIVU division? Are we seeing success stories? Are we seeing people now who are getting the intended pass for this money? Do we have beneficiaries who have moved out of poverty bar line to now the money economy, which is the dream of the president of this country, His Excellency?
Yes, there are very many. We have very many success stories. There are very many people who are doing well. Their businesses are doing well within the division. And I can assure you the progress in terms of percentage, the progress versus failure, the progress percentages are higher.
Okay.
Yes. There are very many people whose income status have changed. And very soon, we are going to start running their, their project, what they are doing online like this, what they are involved in. Say piggery, what you'll be seeing them online.
Okay.
So, my last advice to you out there, one, to the technical people charged with the responsibility of guiding our beneficiary, do the right thing at all times. Don't be tempted to dip your hand into this money. It will burn your finger. This money is meant for our people at the lower level there. By the way, this money is not for those who are already having, well off or what. It's for those lower ones. Don't dip your hand there. It's dangerous. And then to the beneficiary, don't misuse this money.
How you should repeat that again? Because we have seen people buying koofers with this money.
Yes.
Today we
to our beneficiary, don't divert this money. Yes. When you have applied for this money that I am going to do piggery, go and do piggery. Don't divert. First, expand your business or piggery project. When there are now very many where you are earning in 10 million, 20 million, and then you can start enjoying a bit, a little. So at this point, don't divert. And don't give any money to any officer who comes to you in the name of wanting to provide for you PDM services. Don't give the money. If anybody asks you for the money, whether little money, you can do two things. You get the number and inform us or the LC1 of the area, or as you are giving this person money, you photograph the money, how the person is receiving, so that we can also use that as an evidence. I think that is the message I have for both sides.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Mompoli, for coming through to talk to the masses out there. And I hope you who has been watching us had also really the best of the discussion in there. And I hope it is a fruitful one where you should be able to pick a lesson or two to learn from also really that in there. And that is where we're going to be stopping with the discussions, as we are just left with about 2 minutes to 8:30. And remember that we will be ushering us into our last half of the discussions, where also really I'll be letting you know some of the stories that continue to make rounds in other parts of the country. I will also be giving you what's happening in the world of sports. Remember, for the sports lovers, and most particularly for the Manchester United fans, definitely there's good news for you, where the captain has also really extended his stay at the Old Trafford in there. And I will be giving more details to that later on in our last half of the discussions. But for now, we take this short commercial break that will be ushering us into our final half of today's discussion. That will be also really stopping us for this Thursday, where we shall be coming tomorrow for the final edition of the KOKOLIRIKO live show for this week, which comes your ways every Mondays to Fridays, right from 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock. We take a short commercial break. Stay tuned.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Kylian Mbappe! Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr., Lamine Yamal, Antoine Griezmann. La Liga comes to Star Times.
A wild celebration!
The big stars, the tiki-taka football, Real Madrid and Barcelona live in your living room.
Real Madrid, a team of dreams!
Catch all 380 games live and in HD on Sports Premium Channel 259 and Channel 246 starting this August 15th. Subscribe to StarTimes Classic or Smart Bouquet at 36,000 Uganda shillings to enjoy the football experience affordably. StarTimes Football and Limited Passion.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Alright, welcome back from the short commercial break. We are into the last half of today's discussion. Also, it is a Thursday, the 15th of the month of August. It's a great pleasure having you on board this morning. Watching us also really from the entire world, where you can be able to watch us anytime, everywhere, and in any place. All you need to do is have a connection to the internet, where you can be watching us online in there. That's on social media, that's on Facebook, and that's already on YouTube as well. And then we're also there on satellite, on StarTimes channel 477. For those who have the dish, you can be able to sort of watch us each and every time. And then not forgetting those on Zuku, we are also really there on channel 0073, where you can be in position to watch us anytime, also really across the entire country in there. And that is where we are going to be also really ushering you back into our final half, where also really we shall be discussing lots of issues here and there with you as the viewer. Also really we expect to share your thoughts, your opinions and ideas on what we are also going to be discussing into this last half of the hour. And Marlon, I did talk to you about what happened in Chitezi And I was able to also really give you an update on what is transpiring from that side and what Uganda Red Cross Society is saying in relation to that. And I was able to also really explain to you that the death toll has risen now to 30 as 5 new bodies were actually recovered of yesterday. That means the number has now risen to, that is to 30. That means as efforts are still underway. Remember, more than 30 houses were actually destroyed in that tragedy incident. But really, we still continue to mourn with those families who are still grieving. And that is where we're saying, may the souls of those who lost their lives in this accident rest in eternal peace. And for those families who lost their dear ones, may the Almighty also really give you comfort and also give you courage as you also really heal through this moment in there. Because these are all His plans. All in all, we say it's His plan, because we are as believers, we have a belief that also it is from Him that we come. And it's only that to Him that we shall be going back, and that's where we're saying we shall be going back to the soil where we are made from. That means all these are God's plans. We must also really respect them, and we must also really get the courage of also really now working towards that. And now in Arua City yesterday, we did see Wazalendo Circle of UPDF launching its Arua City branch with over 14 billion, also really where we are going to be seeing now the soldiers also really serving under that initiative in there. I really feel this is the quite good time, and at the right time also really where we are receiving the UPDF branch of the Wazalendo being also really established in there. By the way, this is one of the circles that has a lot of transparency, that has grown without cases of corruption. This is quite good, because it is one of the circles that I really want to say is a model circle, which also really other circles also need to learn from. Because looking at the Wazalendo circle, from a small start, it has risen to actually grow as one of those biggest circles. And yesterday we were able to also see now the UPDF also launching its circle branch in Arua City, where now the circle members also for the soldiers are going to be serving, and where they can also be in position to borrow money as loans, also what we call the soft loans. And this has actually seen many UPDF soldiers moving out of the poverty line. Today you have soldiers who have built houses. We have soldiers who are paying their children in school amidst the small money that they receive. And it's quite simple through monies that they have borrowed from this Wazalendo circle. We have seen such stories where UPDF soldiers are into commercial farming simply because they borrowed the money from the circle in there. Now in Arua City, the over 14 billion was launched, where now UPDF soldiers within the city also they can now rush out and borrow this money. And more plans are already underway to also really open up this circle for each and every member of public in there, be it also really a civil servant or not a soldier. You can still be in position to also really go now and also really borrow this money. That's in the plans. It will be also really actualized, I believe, anytime from now, and I believe it should also really be done so, because we have seen some bit of transparency with the circle, and that's where we always appraise the UPDF for when it comes to issues of socio-economic transformation, and that is where we did see that also already happening in there. More details that will be coming through in our subsequent news programs that will be coming shortly from now. That will be the Eraza, where Fete Manuel will also be giving that story in there and what exactly are the leaders saying. But yesterday I was able to see Resident City Commissioner for Arua City, Charles Chogor, who was actually there at the groundbreaking and also at the launch of this circle in there, praising the soldiers for having some bit of transparency, where there is no corruption when it comes to Wazalendo. And that is actually where we must now appraise the UPDF for. And now leaving that aside, looking at the market still in relation to what happens also in the world of economic transformation, I was able to move in a raw main market. One observation was that there is no power amid the social claims that the power also really will be turning back to the facility anytime from now. But I want to say business has been paralyzed, where the businessmen are now countering losses as also as a result of power. And one section, I must say, has been very, very much hit by this is those dealing in the butchery, the butchery section, where I was able to also interact with some of the people selling meat, where the meat sellers also were able to also tell me that the issue is affecting them. Now they are counting losses following also the persistent issue of power, where their fridges cannot also function. And if the meat slips, definitely it also goes stale in there, which also becomes difficult to sell, and they have nothing to do other than disposing this meat off. And that's also really where they're facing challenges. And yesterday at the facilities we were almost half empty because people are not able to slaughter new cows, and that means the meat also the price may go high if at all the issue of power is not addressed. But now, through an interaction with some of the officials at the main market,
they also came out to also inform me that efforts already underway, because the issue that has initially been affecting the market is that the power had been also subletted, and also where a person had been contracted to also supply power, where the vendors had to pay that person. Now it is the person to also buy the power from ONGOM, which was also a long channel in there, because the city council had also given the contract of supplying this power to an individual, and that is one thing also which I feel is very bad. And this actually expressed dismay that despite them having what we call their unit boxes, where they can also be able to purchase power for themselves, but still they are required to pay an individual to also have this power in there, and that is how the mothers are also finding it difficult, because when it clocks certain hour, and one observation also that when it rains, it actually becomes dark inside. That also affects the customers from entering, because some may also live in fear and they may not also want to enter in there. Now the CCTVs are also not working as well as a result of this power in there. But really what is happening to this facility here is it's that somebody somewhere also is not doing the right job at the right time, or could it be corruption? All these are issues that also we deserve answers from ARUA City Council and relevant leaders also to answer to us, because these are queries also that must be addressed in there. Now we also talk about, when you talk about the main facility, really you realize that also there's a lot of sewage coming out from the facility, and women selling fish down there could cause cholera anytime from now, because we see the sewage rolling down because as a result of blockage. But good news also is that now the facility also anytime from now will also be rectified in that. That's also where we call for time intervention of the relevant leaders, most of the city leadership, to also make sure that money is allocated for addressing these concerns. If at all there's a blockage, why don't we pay the plumbers to also make sure that they do their jobs also without necessarily going days without having this money? And all that is also where we expect answers. We also expect timely intervention from the city leadership when it comes to those issues in there, and that is also some brief information. I shouldn't also feel I need to not leave out when it comes to ARUA City in there, because we are there to also make sure that people get to know of what continues to happen within their society, and that is why we are here. And I really want to say, as ARUA City, we feel very bad when the issues also pertaining the sanity within the main market are also not left and also not well addressed, because this is not the very first time we are seeing scandals emerging out of the main market. Recently, we did see the market also being hit by challenges of allocation, where we did see also the Minister for Local Government coming out to also direct also for new allocations, where a new allocation committee was supposed to be formed. But today we still see challenges where people also are to pay through landlords. Recently, I was in there where a former landlord also came out and locked out some of the new tenants, where they demand for huge sums of money from these new tenants, also to pay for that money in there. And that's also where we expect the city leadership not to close an eye on this also facility in there. We have a market master who is also supposed to be there to oversee some of these affairs in there. That's why I want to sort of ask him to do his job promptly, to make sure that if at all there's any challenge, he must raise and also alert the relevant authorities timely in there, so that solely we not also go in and find challenges in there. And remember that is only where we are going to be looking at that. And I really feel also we need to sort of talk about that as we move on with the show. And this is still the KOKOLIRIKO live show. Now to Jetu Yumbe, ex-Yumbe head teacher, also jailed 7 years for stealing shillings, that is shillings 8.3 million. Is another story that we are seeing in the paper this morning. So on the monitor, where the Chief Magistrate Court in Yumbe District has sentenced former Dadranga primary school head teacher, that is Tribe Godiara, to 7 years imprisonment after he was convicted on 2 accounts, that's of forgery and theft in there. And on court on Wednesday, had that also the convict cut stamps, that's and forged also a letter of transfer, that's from Dadranga primary school, that's in Gichara primary, that is to Gichara primary school, as the head teacher. That's also where he forged his way. That is to move away from that is the Dadanga Primary School, that is to Gichara Primary School in there. Now, Presiding Chief Magistrate, that's Fred Awechnedi, said also that the convict purportedly also used the forged transfer letter to change signatories, that is of the former of the Moyo District Bank account, that is of Gichara Primary School, and also is claiming he was the head teacher at the school, and that is where we did see him also really forging the letter in there. Now, court had the following successful change of the signatories in the bank. The convict will do that to shillings 8.3 million from Gichara Primary School bank account amounting to shillings, that is 8.3 million Ugandan shillings in there. Now the bank also only realized Godiara's also fraudulent schemes, as he attempted also to change signatories from another school, according to the court also statements in there. And that's where we're saying as a head teacher, we do not expect you to also engage yourself in activities that may also be embarrassing. And now look at this former head teacher who is now being dragged to prison, and all this will be going back to kind of what money also we pay the teachers. Really, sometimes the teachers also earn a lot of money, but why do we still see them engaging in corruption? This is corruption also in the highest order in India. Now, ideally, the district education officer who recommends the staff under the education department for transfer, and the head teacher and the chief administrative officer who effects the transfer with court also found contrary to the first letters of the former head teacher in there, where he did not also really follow the procedure in there. Now, Goodyear also asked court to be lenient on him, also asked ground or that he has the penance, but the chief magistrate said that the case dragged, blaming the convict for wasting court's time in there, and that is one thing also really where we did see him also being arrested for, and now he has been sentenced to 7 years in prison. Where is he leaving the families which also really claims that he has a responsibility to look over out? We are saying corruption should also stop, and that is why we always continue to sing the song of corruption. And at least each and every day we talk about corruption. And in his judgment, the chief magistrate also handed the convict 2 years imprisonment for forgery and 5-year sentence for the theft of money. In addition, to ordering him also really to pay back the money, that is 8.3 million, that's to Gishari Primary School, as his sentences will be running concurrently. And the convict committed the offense in 2025, that's also where he committed the offense in 2021, and hearing of the case commenced in the year 2022. And that is also where now he will be going to jail to serve his sentence in there. Now, leaving that aside, dismissed Chambo Godon, sedated visually impaired girl, to defile her, that's according to information from the state attorney, is another story that we are seeing on the past. But on social media and also the other media platforms of recent had been awash by a claim of a former Chambogo University lecturer who actually defiled the girl and infected her with AIDS as well. And now that's also where we did see him now being expelled. And now they dismissed Chambogo University Vice Chancellor for Finance and Administration, Dr. Aaron Lawrence, oscillated a visually impaired girl who was 16 years. That's a secondary student, and defiled her, and that's also according to information we got from the state. That was on Wednesday. And in a summary of evidence presented, that's Nakawa Chief Magistrate Court, presided over by Chief Magistrate, that's also really Chris Nantege. The state also on Wednesday alerted also that victim that with also other girls, jointly also that where we did see Dr. Aaron came from a conference in Nairobi, Kenya, through Entebbe Airport already on October 9th. It is alleged that upon arrival on Entebbe Airport, then senior lecturer at Chambogo University offered to drop each of the girls to their respective destinations. That is only where he returned with them upon a conference at Nairobi. The victim also told him that to drop him at that two petrol station, Namugongo, where Paul will pick him up, Paul will pick her up, but he insisted on dragging and also taking this young lady up to home. But upon also reaching somewhere where this lady felt thirsty and asked for water, but now this lecturer, according to information, also gave her a drink that was said to be sedated. And when we talk about sedated drink, this is actually a drink that's also a tablet that would make you sleep. And this lady slept off, and the lecturer had to do the things, and that's where also this lecturer was found guilty also of those crimes in there, because the girl only realized that he had been used after really gaining his senses and after being sleeping in there. And that's also the way he found himself at the back seat of the vehicle upon also really being used in there. Now the former this lecturer also had the guts of taking this girl up to their home and drop her in there, and that is one thing also which I feel I need to remind you of. And this may not be the very first time, it could be his 40th day, and that the question is that how many girls has he infected in similar occasions? These are questions only we need to ask, because as a lecturer, really, we do not expect you to engage yourself in such activities. And our court also found out evidence of some of the drugs that also got in the vehicle in there, and these are things we need to understand. As a lecturer, we do not expect you to engage in certain of these activities, but that is also what we did see him putting himself on, and we now expect justice for this young girl who was actually visually impaired, really a disabled girl, very innocent, 16 years old. Really, it is quite unfortunate for this man to do that, and that's also where we also, in my own opinion, would also recommend for a tougher sentence for this man, because he knows that he is HIV positive. He is a mentally sound person, but still goes on to take advantage of this young girl. How many has he been taken advantage of in similar occasions? This is really where I feel it is his 40th day. And now, according to the Director of Public Prosecutions, that is Dr. Aaron, instead offered to drop the victim to her home, where also really he indeed did, and dropped the lady up to home in there. And that is where we did see him also taking advantage of that girl. I really feel also as parents, we must mind of who our girls are moving out with. And as girls as well out there, who do you trust to also really drop you in there is another question also really you should be asking yourself this morning. Because when you talk about such scenarios, many girls are actually going out through the same, where many are also getting infected with HIV and many are getting impregnated. And this is also where we did see the man giving this girl what we call emergency pill after using her in there, and also told the girl to swallow this within the 72 hours. And after that means he had used this girl also already without protection in there. And that is where also already I feel he has maybe infected the girl, but that is also where the matter is in the courts of law, and the court also must find justice for this young girl who was also really sexually abused by this former lecturer in there. And really for me, in my own opinion, for such offenses, really I would recommend for what we call death sentence. And of course I'm not maybe a judicial expert, but of course if I was not expert, I would recommend for such offenses, such victims, such persons really who would wish to engage in such scenarios also really would desist from that. And that's also where we are leaving the discussion aside with. Bailiffs give ex-MP aspirant 30 days also to save property in Jinja, that's Jinja in Iganga. Is another story that we are seeing on the paper this morning. Remember, during campaigns, people borrow a lot of money, people use a lot of monies, and sometimes this also the aspirants reach an extent of getting this money from financial institutions, and others only at the end of the day find it very difficult to pay that money. And now former Busiki County Member of Parliament, aspirant also already and long-serving headmaster of Inganga Boys Primary School, that is Fred Kalisa, is on the brink of losing property in Iganga and also already in Jinja City over deaths. And according to information we are seeing, Kasisa, 2021 MP contestant, Ghana, that is 8,174 votes against the winner, that's Paul Akamba, who got 19,470 votes, while Yusuf Dadada came third with what we call 4,600 votes. And that's also where we did see other contestants, including that's Ibrahim Busuta, Henry Ivabi, Moses Musoke, Mutabali and Godfrey Tulika, and Latifu Wachiku, who performed this Mali also in the race in there. And now, according to information we are receiving, Kasisa's property, which had been put up for auction also by Quickway auctioneers upon instruction from MS and H&G advocates on behalf of also the property in there. That's also where now bailiffs on the brink of selling this property if at all this man does not pay back this money. And what does this also imply? It means people who are also eyeing some of these parliamentary seats also need to learn from this, because what is happening to Kasisa could happen to also anybody out there. That's also the way I want to say, if at all you're going to be borrowing this money, one information you should be also having in your mind is that this money keeps on accumulating, where property also you are going to put as collateral may disappear. And that's also where our voters also need to learn something, that money that the politicians are giving them is not enough. We should desist from tendencies of asking for money from politicians during votes, because what does that mean? It means people are going to be losing a lot of monies, and today many of these political aspirants are hiding, and many of them are actually losing property silently, and that means they borrowed money worth hundreds of millions, which the voters ate but never voted for them. That is also the challenge, where I would also recommend that if at all why don't you men vote for them? If at all you know that you're not going to vote for this person, why do you pick this person's money? These are questions really which I feel the people need to have sympathy on, because if they do not have sympathy on these issues, then they are still going to be getting monies, and money also once eaten, it becomes a challenge. And at the end of the day, it is these people who are going to be suffering to pay this money back, and also where they're going to be in running battles with the bailiffs who are there to also recover the money, because for bailiffs it is their mandate. After court giving this money, it is the court bailiffs who are to recover this money, and it is also through thick and thin that they have to sell the property that which you put as security if at all you do not refund this money in there. Now the MP is on the brink of losing property in Iganga and in Jinja as a result of that loan in there. What does it mean, and what message should other politicians who are also really trying to engage in the same way learn from? If you don't have the money that you are going to be wasting, please do not also put yourself in loan. This will be my message. If you know that you don't have more than the money, more than 500 million in your accounts, please, if you are planning to engage in this politics also already in there, desist, because politics has been very much monetarized, and that is where people now have the mentality of voting for people who give them the money. If you're not giving them the money, then it becomes quite difficult for you to also already access that money in there, and that is where we are going to be seeing you engaging in running battle with court bailiffs, which is really not a good idea, and also not a good one to also really involve yourself in that. Leaving that aside, budget graft case, court holds trial of 3 MPs amid rights concerns is another story that we are seeing on the paper this morning, where High Court in Kampala has temporarily stopped the corruption trial of 3 members of parliament accused of seeking, that is shilling 20% kickback from the Uganda Human Rights Commission boss. That is in order to that's also really enhance its budget in there. That is also really another story that we are seeing on the paper this morning, and this comes days after the four back-bench commissioners and leader of opposition in parliament also case was being thrown out, where court also came out that this money was legally given to them, and that is also really something which I feel I need to keep you reminded of. And now court is only halting the trial of the 3 MPs who are involved in the corruption scandal, also involved in Uganda Human Rights Commission budget. That is also something we are seeing on the person. And now the presiding judge, Lawrence Gidu, prematurely stopped the trial after one of the MPs, also the accused MP, Paul Akamba of Busiki County, filed an application also of violation of his human rights against the Attorney General, also which court said must be first determined before the case proceeds in there. And that is also something we are seeing. And according to him, progress or lack of it the matter is being halted by the operation of the law in there. Now the judge for that remanded Akamba until August 23rd to present also his application with directives of serving the Attorney General with the application also of August 14th, and also the additional affidavits filed also on August 16th. Bail was extended to also August 30th for the other 2 MPs who are also in there. Now Paul Akamba is jointly charged with Yusuf Matembuli of Bunyore East, and we also do have Butalele and Sisi Namuju Dionizi, who is also the district woman in parliament, that's for Luengo in there. And these are people who are actually being investigated under the corruption scandal in there. And I feel that is already where we need to leave the discussions with. And you as the viewer who was that's right from the time it began until this hour of the morning, we say thank you so much, but we still have lots more to give you and to summarize the entire discussions with what is happening in the world of sports. And remember, so many stories continue to make headlines in the world of sports, and today, right from the regional league, our teams are also really rescheduling, where we are seeing them appointing new directors, also where we are seeing them appointing new head coaches, where there's only pending signatures, so to have new players also join in them in there is also something we are seeing right in our league. And remember, also just a day from now, we shall be seeing the English Premier League returning back, the league also as well returning back. And anytime from now, we shall be seeing the StarTimes Uganda Premier League as well returning back, and the FA Big League also really returning back as well. And all this are to keep you also really entertained in the world of sports. And that's where also internationally the stories are not stopping and not limiting at that, where also we are seeing now teams also really looking for the signatures of other players also to join them in there. Now, according to information yesterday, we did see on the good side of the Manchester United fans, we did see their captain Bruno Fernandes also really extending his stay. That is at the Old Trafford until 27 with an option of a further year extension. Is also another story that we are seeing on the first morning. And remember, the player who also has been playing in the midfield is actually one of those players whom I feel is instrumental, and also for him to stay at the Manchester United team. That is also a quite good move. I mean, it's also them signing new players in there. That's already where now this should be coming as a good news for the players and fans of Manchester United. That captain is going to be staying in there. Now Liverpool are exploring what a deal also could look for. That is for Valencia goalkeeper. That is George Mamadi Saville. Is another story that also we are seeing, where the Liverpool fans also really now waiting to also really see if at all their club will be signing that player in the names of also Georgie from Valencia in there. Is also some story that we are looking on the first morning, and that's also something which I feel could be coming as a good news. And now in Chelsea, further talks also between Chelsea and Napoli. I expect it also to end this week, where there are also the potential transfer for Victor Osimhen and Romelu Lukaku also the exchange in there. Is another story also we are seeing also as we are just left for the day. That is also for the English Premier League also to return in there. But how prepared is your team? Do you think your team will be winning? More details in relation to what continues to make round in the world of sports will be coming through from 2 to 3 p.m. Owen Ezaga with Linda Suzy will be coming through. But remember, in here we shall be having still other programs which will be coming through your way. And up next, we shall be having the news bulletin Liberty that will be ushering us into the Northern Request Hour. Olivia Yuji together with DJ Jero will be coming for the final edition of this week. And then later on, other programs shall be following up. I step out, leaving the newsroom for the newsroom. That is with Fete Emmanuel to bring you what continues to make round in the world of Liberty. I'm out until tomorrow.